What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video will be on the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. Now if you guys aren't familiar with this at all, go and check out my oversimplified the Cold War reaction. It touches upon this a little bit and it seems to be basically the closest the war actually got to actual nuclear war, which would have been devastating to the entire world, not just the United States or the Soviet Union. Now it's going to be very interesting because it touches over it a little bit in the oversimplified and it gives you a little bit of information, but this video hopefully will definitely completely give me a full insight to what went on, why it never actually happened, which is awesome by the way, the nuclear war never actually broke out, and details like that. So I'm very keen for this one today. It's a very short one, so it's not going to be a long reaction. That short, I actually don't have my water bottle, so it will be I might be dehydrated by the end of this. I'm normally drinking a whole gallon of water by the end of this, but we're going to enjoy it. A bit of history, and let me know in the comments if you like this kind of reaction, which isn't necessarily on a it's a bit of history on a certain topic is what I'm trying to say. Firstly, before we get into this video though, we've hit 10,000 subscribers. Wow, thank you so much guys. Honestly, I can't thank you guys enough. You're absolute legends. Yeah, thank you so much, and I will be doing a live stream on Friday. There's going to be a small giveaway in there, probably about £50. I can't afford much more, but I want to give back to you guys as much as I can, and we're going to do a Friday live stream around 5 or 6 EST, Eastern time. I'll put it in my community, so watch out. I'll schedule it like midweek or something like that, around that time, and we'll have a good time. The GeoGuessr, do some quizzes and have a good laugh, so make sure you're aware of that guys. It's going to be awesome. Now let's check out the Cuban Missile Crisis. A shout out to the people who suggested it. I may put a few comments on screen now if I can find any. There definitely was some. So shout out to you guys. Let's see what we got. This was almost, not the end of the world I don't think, but almost a disaster. Let's see what we got.
The Cuban Missile Crisis, the Cold War, October 1962. The Cuban Missile Crisis was the moment during the Cold War when the two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, came close to nuclear war. Secret communications and miscommunications which played out between the White House and the Kremlin made the crisis a unique event. After the failed Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961 by the Kennedy administration, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev reached a secret agreement with Cuban Premier Fidel Castro to place Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba to deter any further US aggression. For some time, the Soviets had been sending surface-to-air anti-aircraft missiles to Cuba, but President John F. Kennedy did not protest. However, he warned that if offensive weapons were sent to Cuba, that the gravest issues would arise. On October 14, 1962, US U-2 spy planes took several photos showing sites for medium-range and intermediate-range ballistic nuclear missiles under construction in Cuba.
Oh, that must have been a scary sight. You're trying to avoid nuclear war, man. You know the shipping something over, you don't exactly know what, potentially some missiles, something like that. You send over a drone just to see missiles set up, pointing right at you, and you're thinking, damn, you ain't messing about. That must have been quite scary. And again, let me know, because a few of you guys will have potentially lived through this, and there's no issue with that. I personally want to know your experiences, if you have. No worries if you haven't. I know we've got a few people who potentially are in the age bracket where they would have lived through this, which is a shout out to you guys, and we have quite a few who wouldn't have been. But if you were, please let me know in the comments your feelings, especially did this hit news at the time? I'd really like to know guys, please let me know, because that'd be, just to get someone's perspective in America at the time would be absolutely awesome. Because what would you be, if you were born in 62, you'd probably be what, 60 now, so you'd probably need to be about 80. We may not have people 80 watching. Maybe maybe we don't. But if you do, somehow, let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate that.
Nikita Khrushchev, who had promised not to send offensive weapons to Cuba, had been lying. To help him deal with the crisis, Kennedy assembled a team called the Executive Committee of the National Security Council, or EXCOM for short. At first, they favored bombing Cuba with debate over the scale of the attack. The president decided upon a middle course, and on October 22nd, ordered a naval quarantine of Cuba. The term quarantine being used instead of blockade, as blockade assumed a state of war existed.
That makes
Kennedy
sense.
sent a letter to Khrushchev stating that the United States would not permit offensive weapons to be delivered to Cuba, demanding that the Soviets dismantle the missile bases and return all offensive weapons to the USSR.
Okay, cheers mate, cause you asked nice, you said please, see you later, we're leaving. But again, you see the whole with blockade, not a blockade, a quarantine, trying to de-escalate it, but don't want a nuclear war, it's evident.
He also went on national television to inform the public of the crisis, in which he said, It shall be the policy of the nation to regard any nuclear missiles launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union.
Oh, you don't want that from the US,
On October 24th, Khrushchev responded to Kennedy describing the US blockade as an act of aggression, and the Soviet ships sent to Cuba would be ordered to keep going. Some Soviet ships turned back, and others proceeded. They were stopped by the US naval forces but were discovered to contain no offensive weapons.
Okay.
Nevertheless, US reconnaissance flights over Cuba indicated the Soviet missile sites were nearing operational readiness. With no clear solution to the crisis, the US forces were put at DEFCON 2. On 26 through 27th October, Khrushchev sent Kennedy a message stating that the USSR would remove missiles from Cuba in return for a promise from the United States not to invade the island. Resolution to the crisis was now looking hopeful, but later, a second letter was sent by Khrushchev which provoked debate again. It demanded that the deal would also require the removal of US Jupiter missiles from Turkey. That same day, a US U-2 reconnaissance jet was shot down over Cuba. Kennedy?
See, you can't do that. You can't be like negotiating and then shoot down a spy plane. But again, maybe because it was in their airspace, let me know what you guys think on it. But if you're trying to negotiate, you don't then just anger the other people more by shooting down the plane. You let them see what you're doing on the ground. And surely that is, I suppose you don't want to let them see if you're potentially dismantling already, if you don't have as many as what you say you have. But if you are loaded, ready to go, you want them to see it, surely. Not saying, look, this is the firepower we have. We will fire away if you do not do what we require. So why would you shoot it down? Maybe that was showing the firepower? I'm not sure.
Prepared for an attack on Cuba within days as they searched for any remaining diplomatic resolution. That night, Kennedy ignored Khrushchev's second message and proposed to the Soviet Union steps for the removal of Soviet missiles from Cuba under supervision of the United Nations and a guarantee that the United States would not attack Cuba.
Okay.
Attorney General Robert Kennedy was sent to meet secretly with the Soviet ambassador Anatoly Dobrinin and indicated that the United States were planning to remove the Jupiter missiles from Turkey anyway and within 6 months.
Okay, that makes sense.
This was to be kept top secret.
That's ballsy to go to him.
The next morning, on October 28th, Khrushchev issued a public statement that Soviet missiles would be dismantled and removed from Cuba. The crisis was over.
Hey.
The world escaped nuclear war in October 1962, largely because of the cautious natures of Kennedy and Khrushchev. In 1963, a telephone hotline was set up to give instant contact between the two leaders and a nuclear test ban treaty was signed. In 1968, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed, meaning the superpowers promised not to supply nuclear technology to other countries.
That makes sense.
Subscribe to see more history.
Wow. Again, a very, very short and brief one tonight, which is nice for me because I am literally recording this straight after work, and this will be going up in about 3 hours' time, so I hope you guys don't mind. But again, the fact that they had a direct phone call between basically the two enemies just to negotiate to make sure nothing too drastic would happen. Obviously, you had the Vietnam War, which is horrible. A lot of lives lost. You have the South Korea and the North Korea divide, which is still an issue to this day, which is mental to think that it actually came from a Cold War, because it's something I did not know until we did a Cold War reaction. It was, yeah, I have a little piece of history there. I've really enjoyed this reaction. Let me know if you guys like little gems like this where you get a little bit of history thrown at you, learn a bit more about it, and it really does just show how they did not want to go to that stage, which is amazing because potentially, who knows, we may not have been here today if they had gone to a nuclear stage. And that's why it's very worrying when you go about wars in today's world. You do not want a nuclear war. We would be wiped out. We really would. And it is quite scary to think. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you don't know much about this, check out my reaction on Cold War. I'll put a link at the top of the description. I'd really appreciate if you did that. It's an awesome video by Simplified. If you don't want to see my reaction to it, go and check their video out anyway. It's definitely a great insight, but I imagine a lot of Americans will definitely check it out anyway. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Once again, thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. We will be doing a stream on Friday, so don't forget to be around 5 or 6 EST. I'll confirm that on my community in the next couple of days. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a fantastic day. Peace.